Thank you all for coming tonight. Really, this wouldn't be made possible without people in the community wanting to support one another, wanting to come together, and that's the biggest life lesson that I learned while in Ukraine. And thank you, Sean and Dwayne and everyone at the Oklahoma Center for Humanities, because you guys really made this come true, and it's better than anything I could have imagined. So I'm so happy to share all of this, artwork and experiences and emotions with you guys. I think it's very powerful, and there's a lot that you can see in each one of these pictures. So why does a 28-year-old that is working in the US, loves her job, loves her friends, why does she want to go to Ukraine? So I get this question a lot. Let me take you back a little bit to high school, right? So I went to a Catholic high school, and they distilled into me, community service, working with others. It's one of the most valuable, important things that you'll ever do. So, I tried to work at a nursing home, retirement home. Wasn't really for me. I went on to work with children, and I really found a love for children and helping them, really facilitate their creativity, their learning. And that leads me to seeing, I've to really seeing these events unfold in Ukraine, right? So I might have been like a lot of you, and I felt voiceless. I felt like, what could I do to help? Why does bad things happen to good people? Why are men forced to fight, or why do they have to fight and defend their country? And what about the women and children? Where are they going? Who's protecting them? Who's helping them? So a group that I've been recently volunteering with, some of those people, got together and they went over to Ukraine. And I saw this on social media, and I reached out to one of them. I was like, this is really cool. Like, you guys are awesome, first off. Like, I want to be like you. How can I be like you? Can I go out there? Like, can I join you guys? And they're like, sure, hop on the next flight. When can you come? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, let me check with work. So I go back to my boss and I say, hey, so I'm sure like many of you, you feel very saddened to see these recent happenings, and you feel like you probably want to do more. And, I feel like I should take this leap of faith. I feel like I should go out there. I feel like I should help. I probably sound crazy, but can I do that? Like, can I go? Can I take a sabbatical? And they said, well, if you really want to, yeah. So I said, okay, give me a month and I'll have all my work off my plate. So I did that. I booked a flight. I went over there. I was feeling all these different emotions leading up to the event. I didn't know really truly what to expect. But I was with a great group of people, and I had faith in them, and I saw the goodness just spilling out of these people, and I just knew that if I was near them, I was going to be okay. So we went over into Ukraine together. It's not the easiest to get into Ukraine. You don't just hop on a flight and you're in Ukraine. All the airports are closed. So this means you have to take a bus, a train. You could walk. I wouldn't really advise it unless you're in a neighboring village. So we went to Krakow, and we went over to Rzeszów in Poland, and from there we drove into the border. So there was a lot of families, a lot of soldiers, all sorts of people at the border. I think I even saw some news channels. So, you're not really knowing kind of what to expect, but you're starting to see people, which is good because there wasn't many people leading up to the border. So we spent a lot of time with the immigration and conveying what we're doing. We did have a translator with us, which was good. After a couple hours, we're finally in, which is good and easy. Sometimes it takes people 4 or 5. I actually had to stay the night one time at a border bringing aid back, but that's a story for another day. So we're in, and we get to Lviv, and one of the first noises that I hear is a air siren as a bomb threat. And so they're speaking in Ukrainian. I don't know what they're saying, but I get the gist. You know, we have windows, we're looking out. I see kind of people walking in the street, but they don't seem too bothered by it. So I said, oh, okay. So that's when I got one of my first lessons there in our command center for our nonprofit. One of the guys was former Special Forces, and he said, all right, listen up. You guys got nothing to worry about unless a chair's flying over your head. You know, stay calm. He said, it goes off every day. Nothing's been happening. It's more or less a few miles away. So we're in Lviv, which is one of the most western cities in Ukraine. And I said, okay. So, you know, every day would come and there would be, you know, at least one alarm, sometimes multiple, because the way the trajectory is say a missile takes off near Odessa, and all the surrounding places with that trajectory, the sirens will go off. And so say it's headed towards Lviv, maybe over in Kyiv the alarm went off, but then they'll get an all clear. And as it's going towards Lviv, more places will get an all clear. So more or less, alarms are always going off in Ukraine. So I worked with this nonprofit for a little bit. Our focus was to help Ukrainian children in orphanages. So we actually had a deal with them where we could bring aid to them, we could take them on field trips. We always worked hand in hand with the government and other Ukrainians to do all of this. So the initial group that I went with, they completed their mission of, you know, relocating the orphanages that they needed to, and which was their main focus, and their secondary missions as well. So they started phasing out by the end of summer, and I was left with more free time, but I had a gut feeling that I needed to stay there longer, I needed to help more. I had a few friends in Ukraine by then, and it was so cool because, you know, at this point in time, what they would always say is the people that are here now that are volunteering and helping, they're people that really want to be there, that really want to make a difference. So whenever we would have time, like there wasn't a day I wasn't doing something. Like I would some days, you know, I was in the basement of a university, a Catholic university, making granola for the military. Another day I'm helping my friend that's trying to start, or has started actually, it's called Pizza for Ukraine, started a nonprofit where he just goes out with all this pizza equipment and makes pizza for people that are fleeing different areas. And, you know, it was cool. The biggest life lessons that I learned from there is that we all need each other, and the power of community when you bring all these different people that just want to help together. And I realized, well, what more can I do? Like, this guy's going around making pizza and I'm helping him. I'm setting up the pizza, I'm helping him move the supplies. Like, you know, what more can I do? And so I was already connected with the different orphanages at this point. So, and I knew how wonderful it was to work with these kids. I mean, these children, you'd get to the orphanage to, you know, have a field trip or play with them, and they would just run up to you and they'd hug you. And I knew I wanted to do more for those children. So I got a few of my volunteer friends. I bought some art supplies and I said, hey, let's do an art workshop. I got connected with other Ukrainian artists in the area that actually had the same mindset and mission. And I said, this is so cool. Like, you've already done a bunch of these. Let's do them together. You know, maybe they can show me the ropes. And I asked them, you know, where have you got your funding up to this point? And this lady's telling me she's already done a dozen of them. I said, this is crazy. Like, what makes you keep wanting to do these and you're spending your own money for it? And she said, well, you know, just seeing those children's faces and how happy they are. And one boy even told me it was the happiest day of his life. She was like, I couldn't not do it. I couldn't stop. Like, I had to keep doing it. It didn't matter. And so I knew she was a great ally to have, her and her daughters. So we ran around and we did art workshops, and I found other Ukrainian volunteers who want to do it too. I even found musicians. So we would sometimes bring musicians with us, and they would play at a hospital, at a orphanage in the Carpathian Mountains, all over the place. So it really, you know, cemented for me the power of people that just want to make a difference and bringing those people together. I never by any means had this vision in my head where it was like, I'm going to go to Ukraine, I'm going to create a nonprofit. It just organically happened. I just wanted to do art workshops. Well, what happens after you do a lot of different art workshops? You start, one, you need more funding, right? And so you want to be able to conduct more. And not only that, but I want to also empower others to want to do more. I don't want this just to die at Ukraine. I want to keep doing this. I want to make this a part of my life. I want to embed this into my fabric. And so I said, well, why not start a nonprofit? I was inspired by my friends out there. And that way I can empower myself to work, to keep doing this with more children. And also if I find other people that have a similar, itch, I can help fund them or help them to do more. Because kindness has that ripple effect. You see one person doing something, I saw those guys going out to Ukraine, I wanted to join them. I was so inspired and flooded with emotions of joy and happiness. And so, just going to these workshops and seeing the different reactions for the orphanage that we did in Lviv at a Catholic, it's actually a Catholic orphanage. We were kind of running over with time, so it was kind of falling into now their dinner time. So as we're cleaning up, these children are getting served their dinner. This little girl stands up and she says prayer. I don't know what she's saying, but I can see my 2 Ukrainian artists, they're starting to cry. I don't know why they're crying. I don't know if I want to ask. So we're starting to clean up, and at the right moment I asked, hey, why are you crying? What did she say? And she said she was thanking God for you guys coming today because she hasn't had this much fun in a while. And that workshop happened to coincide with the St. Nicholas Day. And so you'll see some of these paintings, they're a Christmas theme. And so with that workshop, if you know the origin of St. Nicholas, he comes to orphanages, he brings them gifts. And so with that workshop, I didn't want to just bring paints and canvases and paper, but I also wanted to bring these little wooden boxes. And so the children could paint these wooden boxes, take them home, or keep them, put them in their room, make their room happy. And so with every workshop that I did, the most important thing for me in this nonprofit was to make the children happy. There was no instruction, hey, we're all gonna, maybe you guys know art classes growing up where you're doing a still life, right? So we're all gonna look over here and we're gonna draw the same thing, or let's all do this or let's all do that. I want these children to express themselves in a way that's organic and natural. So I never had an agenda going in with these kids. If a kid wanted to paint their whole canvas with markers, all right, that's great. You did a great job, At the end of the day, it's however they feel the need to express themselves. But something I found surprising with these paintings is when you look around, you see a lot of them are very bright, they're cheerful. You also see a lot of tanks, and you see a lot of Ukrainian soldiers. I did find out with some of them where there were children where their dad was fighting, he passed away, their brother might have passed away fighting. You'll also see that we have some American themed paintings as well, particularly where I'm looking right here. We have 2 different ones with American flags. That was when I was out in Dnipro at a rehabilitation center. When they found out that I was American, these kids were on their phones, they were Googling the flags of America, and they just started painting them. One of the little girls, she came up to me, because at these art workshops we tell the children, hey, we're also trying to raise more money and we want to keep doing this. We want to provide more art workshops to children. Also, we want to go everywhere in Ukraine. We want to also help children in the US, and that's my big vision. And so if you want to, you can give us some of the paintings, but we have enough mediums where you can paint more than one. So what ended up happening is majority of the kids would want to come up and at least give one of their paintings to us. And it was very cute how they did it. It wasn't like they just left it on the table and they're like, that's for you. They would come up to me, they'd present their painting, and some of them would say, I present this to you. They would actually say that in English. And then I'd be like, this is so pretty, thank you so much, And it was crazy. And one of them with the American flag, they actually wrote my name on it. They wrote Caroline. So that little girl that brought that painting up to me, she goes, I really appreciate what you're doing, and I want you to not have to give up all the paintings. I want you to be able to keep this one. And she writes my name on it. I'm like, gosh, you're breaking my heart here, right? Like these little kids and the energy and the goodness and the care for others that you could see in their eyes, like it just brought me to tears. It broke my heart. And so with this exhibition, I want to honor all those children. I want to honor not just them, but also the Ukrainian adults that donated their paintings to this cause. And so, I made sure to document, the more or less the who, what, when, where, so that you guys can see those things. And with adult paintings, you'll see 2 different labels on them. One of them will explain the artist, and there's a QR code that will link you to the artist's page. Another one, it explains that painting that you're looking at. It'll have the name, the description of what it is or why, how it came about. And then that QR code will link you to our auction website. So everything you see in here can be purchased. All the paintings that are on display at the very end of this show, a month from now, all of that will hopefully be gone, and that's going to help us raise more money. So I encourage you to, think about things that you could potentially want, or, help us do more. Also, this merchandise swag, I don't know what to call it, but I'm a creative person. I love painting, I love drawing, I love creativity. I took some of the paintings that I really enjoyed and I put them on different mediums. So you'll see like notebooks, cards, some of them are framed. All that can be taken home today. I have like a set price list over there as well. So if you want to take a souvenir home today, I encourage you to come check that out and just find me, and I have a Square reader, and yeah, so I really appreciate everyone coming out. One last nugget as well. Yes, I was getting there. So our New York show, like I said, we're only as good as our community. Everywhere I go, I want to make sure that we have some sort of Ukrainian involvement. I am so happy that Alice was able to come join us today. She's awesome. And it was actually funny, we were having a conversation earlier about this as well. She was like, hey, I'm inspired by this. I want to do more too. I'm actually trying to start a nonprofit to do like music, art workshops with children. And I'm also like, this is like music to my ears. Like, I love that because this is why I started the nonprofit. Like, I wanted to not just empower myself, but I want to empower others in Tulsa and New York, Ukraine. I just moved to Portland. In Portland, like, my free time, I focus on this nonprofit. Like, I'm already engaging with the community, the Ukrainian community in Portland, and I want to do art workshops there too. So she was like, yeah, I'm looking into this. And like, obviously she's Ukrainian, she wants to help Ukrainians here, but not just them, she wants to help other displaced children. She wants to go to orphanages too. And I'm like, this is great, like, let's talk about this. Like, I want to help you. Like, and so I want to help other people in different communities, help their communities. So this is the purpose of the nonprofit. One last thought. This interactive movement video in this corner, this is actually a Ukrainian that was living in the Crimea prior to when it got invaded by Russia. Her family fled to China. She became this martial arts warrior. She's like a champion. It's insane. She's won several champions. And so she started incorporating emotion into her martial arts, which is kind of weird, right? She's incorporating the human emotion and different things, and she has this whole practice she does. But it's cool, it's really neat. And so she started doing interactive performances all over the world, and you normally would have to pay a good $1 to go see them. But she did this for free. She came to our New York show. All I had to do was bring an easel, paint, the canvas, and she created this painting, which is now on display over there. So that will also be auctioned. So I encourage you to check out the performance and the resulting piece from that. And again, I thank you to everyone that came out. I really appreciate your all support, just coming here, being engaged, and thank you. So.